I think we are recording.
There go all my hopes and dreams.
What's up, everybody? It's CMP with Craftmaster Productions and Studio1Tutorials.com. And today we're bringing you a new episode of This Week in Hip Hop History. Today we have a new format. Got my co-host Lauren. He is an amazing beat maker. He is also one half of our production group Black and Tan that we're going to be starting a new YouTube channel for. It's going to be all instrumental jams that are going to be showcasing his art. By the way, plug your art Instagram so these people can see what you're working with.
It's at opaqeinco.com. That's OPAQUEINKCO.com.
Yeah, that is easy to remember, but luckily we're on YouTube and you can hit the rewind button a few times. But y'all should give my dog a follow, man. It's really, really dope art. So today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I wanted to think about hip hop in a historical sense and also in the present day tense. And I've had this conversation a couple times with a few different people to kind of get their take their temperature on it. I'm interested what everybody else thinks today. So we definitely want to hear from you guys in the comments. And basically, I had an epiphany. Had a realization. I had a coming to hip hop Jesus moment. And I have an opinion, and my opinion is that I think that hip hop and trap are two completely different genres of music. I do not think that they are the same genre at all, and I don't mean that in the sense of a crusty old head, like, oh, what y'all doing ain't hip hop. I mean it in the sense of like hair metal isn't grunge. You know what I mean? Jazz isn't surf rock, you know. And where do I start? I want to start with how we got to this point, because I know some people are taking it the wrong way right now. I think the reason why people think that they are both a genre is because there's rapping, right? So you think just because you hear rapping, you're hearing hip hop, right? But when you really think about it, dude, like trap culture and hip hop culture, they're two completely different cultures.
I agree 100%. Like everything, I'm following you.
All right. So that's where I'm at right now. And the reason why I think that this has got confused is one, because they're rapping, but it's also because of the radio station, right? So the great poets of our time, Dead Prez, gave us the wisdom that a radio program is not a figure of speech, right? So if you want to listen to hip hop music, and prior to like the past 7 years where streaming is really dominated and people are comfortable doing it, prior to that, you would turn on the radio. And if you wanted to hear hip hop music, you would turn on the hip hop station and trap music would come out. For the past decade now, if you turn on the hip hop music station, trap would come out. And the reason why that is happening is because the old, out of touch millionaires who run these stations, I'm not talking about like the program directors and the ebros and the on-air personalities, I'm talking about the business people. They don't fucking know that hip-hop and trap aren't the same thing. They don't even know that hip-hop and R&B aren't the same thing, bro. Like how long have you been going to the store and you go to the hip-hop section and it's hip-hop R&B? Like how is that shit even the same?
You have no idea how happy I am that you're saying this right now.
All right.
This is amazing.
All right, so good shit. So that's how I think that we got to this point. So I just want y'all to hold that for a second and just open your mind to that possibility. Now, let's go into the history of it. Hip hop started out in the park, right? So you're talking about hip hop music. The way the hip hop music started was, as an East Coast thing. started as a means of getting people together to celebrate their culture. You have black people, Puerto Rican people getting together, performing art. It was performance art. You had DJing, which was performance art. You had the taggers and the graffiti chamber of everything, who were spreading their message across the city. Everywhere you go, you'd see their art. Then you had the dance element to it with breakdancing, right? And rap didn't come until a few years later. You know what I mean? Like rap was not an important part of hip hop culture at the inception. It was all about the DJs. The MC was just there to be like, yo, DJ Busy Bee rocking on and on.
Yeah, like the MC was really just there to hype up the DJ. Like, because the
Yes.
DJ was the DJ was the one that was keeping the party moving. Like he was the one that like kept the groove going. He was the person that just the backbone, I guess, of you could say, of the party.
Yo, Lauren, let me ask you, as a DJ, how do you feel right now with just the gross misunderstanding of, bro? Because I've seen people on Twitter just like completely marginalizing DJs when it comes to hip hop culture.
Man, like it's personally, it's kind of disgusting.
Yeah.
Like, just being honest, it's kind of disgusting, because I mean the politics of the business are just foul.
Well, not even the politics of the business, just from people who the culture is for, the fans. You know what I mean? Like just for them to not really be familiar with with the levity and the weight that DJs are the cornerstone of the culture. Like y'all were first.
Well, I mean, when I say the politics of the business, I mean this. Like you were saying, the radio stations, right?
Right.
They pump out this music. So they're pumping out this music that if you hear it 5 times a day, it gets stuck in your head.
Right.
And then now when you go out, you want to hear these songs. You don't give new music a chance. So now it's just a rotation of 20 songs in the car, at the house. When we're out, we don't get to enjoy playing new music for people because they don't want to hear it.
So basically, to piggyback off of that, you're in a constant cycle that's dictated by, again, a radio station, which is crazy, because that's not how the culture started. So getting back to the history, and hip hop culture, that's and it's important to define this, because we're gonna get into how it's different from trap. So with that situation, that's how hip hop started. So then you go into an era where the MC becomes more expressive, more fluent, more artistic, and starts to take the center stage of the culture. And with that, you get different stories and different eras. You go from party rocking MCs like Kool Mo D, and then you go into the Nas era, where it's like street poetry, NWA, where it's that, but on a more like extreme level. Then you get into Puffy, where everything becomes like big and cinematic and flashy. DMX comes in, dirties it up a little bit, and then around that time, okay,
Oh God,
around 1998,
yeah,
okay. So
I want to hear who you're gonna say. I really want to.
Okay.
This is interesting.
So around 1998, something happened, okay, and these drums started appearing, and just
in the mainstream.
in the mainstream,
In the mainstream.
yeah. I'm talking mainstream now, and they had been floating around in the underground. This was in no means new, but there became a mainstream version of what was happening in the South, and it was very glossy, very, very well produced, very well mixed. All right, Manny Fresh takes over the radio after Ha. All right, so the mainstream gets introduced to Cash Money Records in 1998 with Juvenile Ha. Then they go on a run where they're competing with Master P. Now Master P drops in I think it was from 1997 to 1998. He dropped 28 albums on No Limit Records, all of them utilizing Beats by the Pound production, which has a certain sound. So then you have Manny Fresh, Juvenile, Lil Wayne, the Hot Boys, Big Timers, all trying to keep up with that wave, dropping music for that time at a furious pace, and the radio is messing with it. Yeah. And things start to change. And this is when the first reaction is like, oh, that shit ain't finna last.
I remember when I first heard about Master P, and I was like, what? This guy in my health class had a Ice Cream Man CD. Craziest, like, it was just unorthodox production.
Bruh, somebody played me Master P once, and I was like, that is garbage. Don't ever play that, because I'm sitting here like I was a huge Wu stan at that time, so all I wanted to hear was the gods. I did not want to hear about no Yola. All right, I did. What did they used to call weed? The Doja, and they're smoking on the Doja. I was like, bro, what are you talking about? The Doja. Somebody, bro, is a white boy at Western High asked me for some Doja. I was like, no. Yeah, bro. So all right, boom. So that happens. And this was the first time that you heard and people meant it, like, yo, that's not hip hop. Okay. It was a big deal. You had producers, and Swizz Beatz was kind of catching it on the East Coast too, right? Because this was the first time that you heard commercial hip hop without samples. All right. And it was a big conversation point. Like if social media was a thing back then, they would have been on fire with it, because
this is fresh off of the huge Bad Boy Shiny Suit run.
Yeah. And they were catching those fire loops, you know what I mean? And people were giving him shit about it.
So many, but hey, look, they invented the remix.
So dude, you go and you have, and the South starts picking up. That's the first time you heard them say that's not hip hop. And in the South, I'm from Miami. The South, we didn't like that, but we still had so much respect and so much love, because we came up off of the East Coast hip hop. We bought all that shit. We bought West Coast hip hop. We bought down South hip hop. We were cultured in that respect. It wasn't. I think a lot of East Coast people project their experience on us, like, oh, y'all weren't fucking with our music. We were, bro, and still are. But that was the first time it was like, that's not hip hop, and it was with a very negative connotation. It was y'all are something different. So they came. Wind up taking over the popular sound of music probably around 2005 with Lil Jon. Okay, that is when the tempo slowed down for the first time. The records on the radio were no longer 100 beats per minute to 92 beats per minute.
74. 76.
Okay, see that's why I had to bring you in. You got the DJ brain. All right, bet. All right, 74, 76. To my producers out there, that's 140.
Yeah.
All right,
that's like snap your fingers.
That's
like all that.
That's 144. Okay, that's what you got. 144, 148. That's Lil Jon. All of a sudden, now we're not fucking with samples. Okay, and not only are we not fucking with samples, we're really not even fucking with music. All right, we're just this is when the Fruity Loop shit was really starting to get out there because the music that was being made at that time
was just loop based.
Bum, bam, 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 bam. One synth. I mean, they stack the hell out of it, and make it sound big and bad.
That reminds me that what was it? That Young Buck, that Get Buck, that womp womp.
Yeah,
womp 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 womp. So
a complete different style of production, a complete different style of creation. You got people producing inside the computer. The hi-hats are different. Instead of the song being defined by by the sample changes, Lil Jon would go from like a 16th note hi-hat to an 8th note hi-hat, and then the slow part would be just the quarter note. So he'd have 3 different hi-hat patterns, but that's before they was getting nice with the triplets or whatever. That was the break, okay? Yeah. From Cash Money up to Lil Jon, that was the break. That wasn't them adding to Dirty South, okay? Because Dirty South was something different. Dirty South was UGK, okay? Dirty South was Goody Mob. Dirty South was Outkast. Dirty South was 8Ball and MJG.
Trick Daddy.
Okay, Trick Daddy.
Yeah.
Everybody at Rap a Lot.
Oh yeah.
Tila. Okay. All that shit. That's what Dirty South was. But the Dirty South was musical performances over samples. It had influences from the West Coast, and then it had slowed down drums from the East Coast. Okay. That's what Dirty South was. The no sampling shit, keyboard shit, that became, and then once Fruity Loops came through and just DAWs period made it so that you could make a Lil Jon beat on a computer.
Oh yeah.
Okay? Because as a producer, that's how that's how you begin your ride to your sound, is you find a producer that you like, try to replicate his shit so you can remake Lil Jon. This is what was happening at the time, all right? So let's take it back. Hip hop started out in the park, right? Mm-hmm. Trap music started on the radio. Okay. Because that was just hold up. Because that was the Lil Jon, all right? The Manny Fresh drums, the No Limit bass, that shit. That was the go-to sound for going to the radio. Okay. You needed, when, after Nas whooped on Jay-Z in Ether, and he needed a hit before his album came out, and he had his group's album. He had success with Uchi Wally, which was like Timbaland type beats vibes.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what that next?
Who produced that?
I don't know. It's probably someone dope though. But you know what the next song was? You know what the follow-up single was?
What?
You talking shit out your mouth, you quick to back down.
Oh yeah, the Bravehearts and Lil Jon, yeah.
Dope ass video.
That was nuts.
Okay, Nas on the trap beat. Okay,
and that had those bells on that were nuts.
Yeah,
like real crazy.
Now on the underground side of it, of course you have to acknowledge 3-6 Mafia.
Thank you.
Because they're the ones who brought you harmonic minor scales, the fucking the 1 2 3 4 melody. They brought you the intricate hi-hat rolls, that nasty sub bass. A lot of people that don't know the history, they go, oh, Lex Luger. No, he got his whole fighting stance off of them, and they were nice at sampling too. Mm-hmm. But they were so underground, you know what I mean, that they were the whole energy of it. Yeah. You know what I mean? They were the whole energy, because anytime you heard them spoke on, it was always something impactful. It was like, have you heard what's going on in those clubs in Memphis when they play that song? They literally tear the club up. The song was fucking banned. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. So hip hop started out in the park. Yeah. Trap music started in the club.
Uh-huh.
Okay? You seeing it now.
Yeah, no, I
It's
mean,
a
I'm following you.
it's a
We're on
it's
the same.
it's a completely different inception and a completely different vibe, and that's why when you see hip hop music, who do you think is a newer rapper like post 2008, right? We'll say that class. Someone who's came out in the last decade that you would consider them a hip hop artist. A big one.
I mean,
or a small one, just anybody who you consider a hip hop artist.
A hip hop artist?
Yeah.
Jeez. There are so many rappers.
No, just a hip hop artist in the parameters that we have just discussed. Somebody who is a participant in hip hop culture. Kendrick is a hip hop artist. J. Cole is a hip hop artist.
I don't consider, like, I consider those guys. Okay, I'll give you Kendrick and J. Cole. Yeah.
Not what you consider them.
Yeah,
just within the parameters of this discussion.
Yes, yeah, you're correct.
Okay. So, all right, so those boys would be hip hop artists. Now, someone like Lil Pump, right?
He's a rapper.
That's a trap artist.
Yeah.
He makes trap music. He does not make hip hop music. And that's not to say like, yo, you're pie as fuck, you know, like you're worthless. No, these are two different genres.
Yeah.
They're two different things. There's a different experience that you have, you know, listening to an R&B record than you have listening to a Lil Pump record. Just like there's a completely different experience that you have listening to a Lil Pump record and listening to a Kendrick record. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? And I've had so much, you're the first person I've had, because this is the first time we've had this conversation. You're the first person I've had this conversation with that has been any type of receptive to it. And I don't understand why. I don't know why. And you know who the people who don't, because I try to have this conversation with people who don't like trap. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be like, you know, it's not really, but they don't. They're like, yeah, fuck that shit. And then when I put it, when I tell it to them like this, they're like, no. But you know, they got it from us, you know. So it's still hip hop. It's like, but bro,
no.
You just said it's not hip hop. But when I explain to you that it's not hip hop, then it's a problem.
No, man, like it's a different genre of music. There are different rules, you know. There's different ideologies. It's just different.
That's a good one. There are different fucking rules
because like
with the creation of the music, there are different fucking rules.
Yeah,
there are different rules, bro. Bruh, could you imagine?
It's silly.
Could you imagine if fucking it came out that Jadakiss didn't write "Knock Yourself Out"?
I can't even deal with that. That's blasphemy. That's blasphemy.
You know what I mean? Like if it was like if you found out that Big Pun was writing for Fat Joe on his album. Like that would not be cool. That's a hip hop rule. And then that's where we fuck up, trying to put hip hop rules on artists who aren't hip hop.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's not even fair. Why we don't put hip hop rules on R&B singers?
Yeah. Because no one's saying anything about Beyonce having like 5 zillion writers on her album.
Yeah, because
like it's what they do.
Because bro, I've worked in the studio with trap artists, and I've worked in the studio with hip hop artists, and it is a different experience when you're working in the studio with hip hop artists and trap artists. When you work in the studio with trap artists, it'll be 4 people in the studio. One of them might go into the booth and just mumble a melody, and then the person whose actual song it'll be might come in and sing the actual words to the melody. That is not uncommon. If you go to a hip hop session where there's 4 people, everybody's in a different corner with their fucking paper like this, making sure nobody can see it.
Yeah. Bars. Serious bars.
You know what I mean?
And that's like a real competition. Like, especially, I mean, that's one of those hip hop things. It's like that competitive spirit. It's you wouldn't feel right if you had someone else do the work for you.
Nah, and it's not only that. You're always trying to be the best in trap. there is no desire upon any of the participants to be the best rapper at all.
No, it's
ever.
It's just who can have it the most lit.
Yeah, like you take someone like T.I. You
Okay.
like let's go back to when we put brackets on it, because what I was talking about before, we hadn't put brackets on it. That's where this was all the seeds of trap before we called it trap. T.I. defined it, said this is trap music. Okay, boom. But T.I. was still very influenced by hip hop.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. Super
the
influenced.
UGKs, the Ghetto Boys.
Yeah,
he
he started, like, he defined trap music,
Mm-hmm.
but he was not like a true trap artist. He was a southern hip hop artist to the fullest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just like the way that he would flow different on every beat.
Vocabulary is
the
insane.
vocabulary is ridiculous, bro. The care that he put into into the verses and the rhyme scheme. I mean, dude, he did songs.
Extremely versatile in the mic.
Yeah,
extremely.
He did songs with Eminem for for a point. Smoke Perp isn't gonna get on the mic with Eminem.
Yeah,
he doesn't. Smoke Perp doesn't have any desire to even know why someone would want to do that. Culturally, in trap, there's no desire to be known as the best rapper. That is a purely hip hop sensibility.
Yeah.
What else is like a glaring difference that people just don't give enough credit to? Because I think the whole the no biting rule.
Mm-hmm.
In trap, as far as sampling is concerned, like, they don't give a shit, bro. They'll just take the middle. They'll just take the middle of a song, loop it up, not change it, and that's a 5 sample.
Slow it down.
yeah.
Throw an 808 on it, and then there you go.
Yeah, and that comes and that's not to say that it's bad music, but it's just a cultural difference. The tools that hip hop are made with. Hip hop isn't made on a computer. You can make hip hop on a computer. That's not to say that DAW based beat makers aren't hip hop, but hip hop isn't made on a computer. That's what gives it its swing and its bounce and its vibe and its character is is the converters of the mold samples, the swing of the MPC and the SP1200.
SP1200, man.
Things of things of that nature. And I think everybody would agree that the thing that gave trap its character was FL Studio.
Yeah.
Because people
sequencers.
Yeah, the sequencers, just the pattern bass, just opening it up and it being at 140. And then notice beats changed when they changed the stock tempo to 130.
What was it, 130 or 120?
No, it started at 140. Now it's at 130. Then all of a sudden, a whole bunch of 130 trap beats started coming out.
Wow.
But yeah, man, that's that I can't believe I've never heard anybody talk about hip hop and trap in this light, because I don't know, I just felt like it was pretty obvious, but I feel like whenever it's said, the people who are saying it are trying to offend, and it instantly puts folks on defense.
Well, there are also some people that, like, any song with anyone rapping in it is a rap song. Because I mean, do you consider? I mean, is Flo Rida really a rapper?
Oh, Flo Rida is definitely a rapper.
Well, no. I mean, commercial. I've listened to the albums. I know he can rap.
No.
But what I'm saying,
that's the wrong. No, Flo Rida is nice.
Okay. That's not okay.
Groundhogs. shout out to the groundhogs. I ain't gonna let them do you like that, boys. What up, Bread? I ain't gonna let them do you like that. You gotta pick another one.
Okay.
Who? T-Pain? Is T-Pain a rapper?
Is okay. T-Pain can rap.
Yeah, rap his ass off.
You know what I'm saying? Like let's
Nice.
chill there. But I mean, I don't even know who can you really say that like.
I don't know what you're trying to say. Instead of the example, what's the point first?
Who raps on a song that isn't a rapper?
Oh, okay, Bobby Brown.
Okay.
How they used to have rap breaks in New Jack Swing.
There are people that would, that's a rap song, or that's a hip hop song.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's not. That's an R&B song.
Yes.
Or that's a dance song, or that's a pop song.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And those are all different genres that may have the fact that someone rhymes words in cadence doesn't make that a rap song.
Yeah,
or a
bro.
song.
That is my main point. That is my main point, is that you can rap on anything. I mean, now, bro, you hear rap in country. You hear trap hi-hats in country.
Yeah. Oh,
that shit is freaking me out.
Oh man.
You know, that shit is crazy, because it's not like with hip hop. When hip hop was huge, they didn't start using break beats in country.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's got the hip hop delegation pretty salty, because like trap has had a greater influence in all of popular music than hip hop has.
And I will take that. Well, I'll say that has a lot to do with. I mean, you do give credence to like T-Pain and Nelly writing a lot of these songs for these country artists too. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't think it's that. I think it has a lot to do with the price of production. Is
you're going that route?
Absolutely, because if you were to make sample based pop songs, okay, with the amount of money that you got to put behind a pop artist, it's a huge expense, and you don't get to make that big return because you're paying the old song, right? Yeah. So that you instantly don't want to do that. It's a lot easier to play session musicians. So that would be your overhead cost for the production of those songs. Yeah. But bro, if we could put some 808s on there, you know what I mean, and get our keyboard player that knows how to run the DAW, and we don't have to call the band for this session.
There goes the jukes. There's the jukes.
You know, and then and people wonder like how does this trap shit keep coming out? It will not. I mean, said it fucked up there, but how does trap music keep dominating? And it's dude, like the music industry really doesn't have an interest of it not dominating, because it's made
cheap.
It's made
inexpensive. It's inexpensive.
Yeah, they're taking a loss on losing the physical sales. Yeah. Okay, because that hurt everybody. So you took the loss on losing the physical sales. So you have to readjust in some. Yo, open the door so she could get out. Get out. You have to adjust from. Shut it all the way so she don't come back in. You have to adjust from losing the physical sales. You know, cutting production costs helps out, definitely. So there's that. And I mean, pop has always been. I mean, that is what pop does. Pop takes from other genres and puts a 1-4-6 chord progression on it, and and calls it a day. So, yo, the shit. I mean, it slides, but whatever.
Yeah, whatever sells, man.
But yeah, man, I would really like to see how you guys feel about that, because I don't think it's I don't think they're the same. I know they're not the same culture, and I know they're not the same music, and I know just because someone raps on a song it doesn't make it hip hop, and I know that calling something not hip hop but still being able to respect its roots, and celebrates its tradition, and not try to force the cultural rules that your culture might have on it, because we don't we don't do that as folks. Like, we don't try to go like throw American values on Venezuelan people. I mean, some people might want to do that shit, but you know what I mean? Not cool people, man. Not anybody who you wanted to cook out, you know
what I'm saying? Hey.
So that that's my whole thing is, because I'm a hip hop head, bro. I am hip hop culture, and I think that we as hip hop people need to stop trying to enforce our culture on other rappers just because they're fucking rapping, man. You know, like, what is the point? We have amazing artists that that are carrying on the tradition, that are not only carrying on the tradition but innovating and building, and taking elements out of trap and then infusing them into hip hop. You know what I mean? Instead of looking at what that culture is doing and saying that they somehow destroyed ours, now look at it through a different perspective. Like, oh, what do you got that we could sample? Let me sample that hi-hat pattern. Let me change the pitch on it like I would a record. You know what I'm saying? Let me chop that up. Let me reverse it. That is the perspective that I wish more people had moving forward, because I just know, because I went through that transformation. I just kind of want to I want to share it with everybody, because I started out only listening to shit like that with your Ruckus hat. You know what I mean? Like, only listening to Ruckus records, fucking ELP and goddamn Wordsworth and fuck, what was his partner's name? Punchline, Punching Words. Lyricist Lounge, Wu-Tang. You know what I mean? It wasn't. It took me a long time to even get into the Hot Boys. As much as as much as I wound up enjoying their music,
I was around it so much that it was like that's what was played around everywhere that you went. So it was, you couldn't escape it. But at the same time, I'm listening to like the Fugees, Nas. You know what I'm saying? I was an Eminem head, like a Stan super early, like super
before
duper,
he made Stan.
What, like, yo, Marshall Math? No, dude, like the Slim Shady EP. Like,
you were on Napster.
Oh yeah. Oh,
okay.
Tough.
Yeah.
Tough.
Okay.
Tough.
Yeah, that's where the Eminem stands came from. They came from Napster.
Oh yeah. I had like
and it was crazy because
Durst songs and everything. I
yeah,
had wild ones.
Yeah, it was crazy because they were the big rappers that were on the Fuck Napster campaign.
Yeah,
I was like, bitch, like, I wouldn't know you if it wasn't for Napster, bro. Like, if the first thing I heard from Eminem was "My Name Is," I would have never fucked with Eminem. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, the shit that made me fuck with Eminem was like Bad Meets Evil. You know what I mean? All
Murder. The one with the Tupac sample in it.
Yeah. All I hear is murder, my mind state.
Makes it too late for the cops to start and stop the crime rate.
Yeah. But yeah, man. So I don't know. Do you have any more thoughts on that?
I mean, we pretty much covered it all, man. Like, it really is just like, they're two different things. Like, trap is trap and hip hop is hip hop. Like, I mean, hip hop has the 5 elements. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've got b-boying, DJing, MCing, graffiti. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have the elements of hip hop, right? And then you have trap, which is just like, get it lit, get fucked up, have a good time, fuck the consequences. And that's, I mean, it's a vibe.
It's a vibe.
And that's how it's looked at. I mean, if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. Or hit me in the comments.
Bet that up, boy. So, yeah, man. This is CMP with Craftmaster Productions. Y'all say peace out to our boy Lauren. Check out Black and Tan coming soon. Don't forget to go to, what's it called? Opaque Ink Co. on IG. Opaque Ink Co. at Opaque Inco. Seriously, check out the art. Hit my boy Lauren up if you need any of that artwork. Y'all keep it simple, but don't be basic, and we will see you on the next one.
You're